Nigerians have a lot of questions as to whether or not Yahaya Bello is in custody, what happens if Yahaya Bello jumps bail, and what picture all of this paints. Hopefully, helping us to answer these questions and more is Towo Oseruwoja, who's a legal practitioner. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
All right. So I think the first question will be to get your sense of, what the EFCC versus Yahaya Bello case, what it portrays, what it tells you. What picture does it paint to Nigerians? And what picture does it paint to you?
Well, I think it's not new. It's not new. If you look at since 1999, each administration has a way of fighting corruption, particularly using the anti-graft agency. Let me just give you a memory lane, and I'll ask you what was the outcome of those fights after the media stunt. During the Obasanjo regime, one of the person we look at that he used as an instrument, or he used to as an example, is the former governor of Bayelsa State, DSP Elamesiya. And you could see that after the media stunt, after the allegation, at the end of all this thing, he was convicted, or he was granted pardon by the then Goodluck Jonathan's regime. Then during Goodluck Jonathan's regime, which is Goodluck Jonathan and Yar'Adua's regime, you see the like of the anti-graft fight of the former governor Ibori, who later escaped and was convicted there in the UK. Then outside Ibori, there's many of them. And if you ask yourself, what was the outcome? It is zero. I think the former governor of Plateau State, Dariye, was also part of those that was part of the corruption regime fight. Then when you come to the most interesting one, which is the one of Buhari, you talk about Sambo Dasuki. I mean, what was the outcome of Sambo Dasuki with the homogous amount of money alleged or stated that he has embezzled, he used in funding political activities? I think the thing just went down the drain. You talk about the former Attorney General of the Federation, who later, I think Nigeria is owing apology over the marbles, Mabula power plant scandal and all those stuff. Then this is Yahaya Bello now. Yahaya Bello, the governor of the former governor of Kogi State. And if you look at how Yahaya Bello became the governor of Kogi State, you least expect that this allegation will come after, because I think he's one of the people that I will refer to that the ancestors or the benevolent spirit cracked his cranium, because he never, and if you look at how he became the governor of Kogi State, is of a divine intervention. But look at the turn of events. He was charged of an offense, and that is a different count on corruption allegation. Do you understand? And now, in the course of that, even though he has not appeared, there is another charge against him. So what does that tell you? That our anti-graft agencies, they are quick, immediate trial than due diligent investigation and prosecution of corruption cases. It's just the political regime that determines who goes in and how it plays out. But Yahaya Bello, to everybody, is already guilty, but you'll be shocked with the turn of events that Yahaya Bello may skate through the legal process, not because the judiciary is corrupt, but because of the attitude of our law enforcement agency, particularly the investigating stage of it. We will still be shocked that in the ongoing, you will still see that the charge will be amended, some may be dropped, while some will be added. So that is just how it is in Nigeria.
So, I mean, are you saying, that the EFCC, even with all the, maybe I could call it barking of Ola Olukoyede concerning this particular case, are you saying that you still don't even trust that the EFCC has its house in order, for a case like this?
Okay, let me throw the question back to you. When you talk about, I think, in my opinion, the EFCC are more of the media prosecuting agencies than law court prosecuting agency. Look at their sister agency, the ICPC. Do you see them make much noise compared to what the EFCC is doing? look at what I think the EFCC is doing in Yahaya Bello say. I'm not saying that what they are saying is wrong or right, but you could see what they've thrown to the public domain. Look at the people I've mentioned, and look at the outcome of events. Some of them, okay, a good example, even on this regime, a good example, you talk about the former governor, the CBN governor. You could see that as the case is ongoing, you could see that they are dropping, or they are amending, or they are adding to the charge. That shows two things. If you look at it carefully, that shows that at the point of framing the charge, they've not been due diligence in their own job. And the court is not a court of public opinion. The court is not a court of public opinion. Where's Dizani Alizi Maduke, the former petroleum minister? Where is she today? But if there's due diligence, if there's more media publicity than the input in court, you see the outcome. And you could see how he presented himself. For you to know that the EFCC did not do their due diligence, because if there is due diligence, Yahaya Bello wouldn't have been in the country for more than 6 months, and they are still telling Nigerians that they can't find him, when they know that he has a police officer as an aide to him, when they know that they can work with the police to get him arrested even in his bedroom, because he has security apparatus around him. So, but you could see that the conflict of interest, more of political to me than the fight for corruption. Another person I want to also draw your attention to that we might have forgotten of a sudden, I think this man in question, you could see that the outcome, Fayose, the former governor of Kogi State, the former governor of Ekiti State, where's the outcome now? So I think the EFCC should develop a more robust strategy in fighting corruption. Rather than throwing tantrums in the media domain, they should go to the law court and fight the battle. I think the more publicity we have in politically exposed individual corrupt case, the more possible outcome will come.
Do you have the same expectations for the? Do you have the same expectations for the Delta State governor? He was alleged to have also mismanaged, maybe more than ₦1 trillion.
Yeah. Yeah, the former Ukowa, the one of Ukowa now, you could see that, regrettably, you could see that he has even been, I hope the Delta State will not liken him like they're liking Ibori to be the messiah that is alleged. And you could see that when the publicity came out now, the Urhobo Progressive Forum, the Urhobo Progressive Union several unions has gone to pay him tribute and homage. Sympathy, because it's more of now the way the people see it is more victim rather than him being a alleged corrupt individual, because of the way EFCC is doing their own issue. Do you understand? Because at the tail end of it, when people throw the tantrums, when people tend to look at this person is corrupt, then you will see tomorrow either he has been granted pardon, or either the case has been thrown for lack of one technicality and the other. Ibori's case, when you look at Ibori's case in the UK, you discover that the prosecuting agency spent years investigating him, and it took them less time in prosecuting him. But in Nigeria, we spend less in investigation to take time in prosecuting. So rather than the culprits now becoming at the mercy of the society, it becomes the victim, where he draws sympathy from the society. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So for the one of Ukowa, I think basically you ask, Ukowa has gone for it, yes. It's a matter of time now. Do you see it in the media? Then maybe at the tail end of it, you see a charge will be framed. In the course of the charge, a new dispensation will come in after 8 years or 4 years. Then you see either Nigeria apologize to him, or is granted pardon, or an amnesty is entered, or the Attorney General will enter a nollie prosecute to say that they don't have the material evidence to prosecute. Okay. Remember, okay.
I'd like us to, because we're running out of time, and I want us to juice as much as we can from the Yahaya Bello conversation. There's the fresh charges instituted against him. We hear that there's a hearing that's meant to happen today, the 27th of November. Before now, Yahaya Bello has been evading arrest. He hasn't even taken his plea yet. So what are your projections for what happens next? Do you see him appearing in court? And if he doesn't appear in court, what should happen? There are those who think that he should be charged again with evading arrest, or he should be given an additional charge of, evading arrest. Is that something that should be explored?
Okay, well, first, if you look at the statement, I think I read the statement from the Economic and Financial Crime Commission that he's currently in custody, and by virtue of him being in custody, he will be presented from their own end in court today. Then the charge before Yahaya Bello, regrettably, is a bailable offense, which is at the discretion of the court. Then this is where we will now look at what the court is going to do. It's a bailable offense, and I'll still tell you for free, the court is not a court of public opinion. They are blind to the society. So it's left for EFCC to bring out all this evidence to say, okay, well, it's a flight risk. Do you understand? It's a flight risk, and if granted bail, he will be He is not going to appear before the court. But another thing that caused for concern, a friend of mine in Canada, when he called me when we were discussing about this issue, in another platform, is that why is it now that Yahaya Bello is coming out? Why is it now? So, and somebody may believe that there might be an underground arrangement before that. But in Nigeria, we can't really predict the law per se. And the judge, in his own mercy, can decide the fate of Yahaya Bello. If the judge grants him bail, fine and good. He is definitely a bailable offense. If the judge grants him bail, he will be out of bail. Then for him evading arrest, arrest and all those stuff, you will look, if we are a people of accountability, what happened to his ADC? Because as at the time those conflicts happened, the ADC was with Yahaya Bello, who is a law enforcement officer. Then the governor of Kogi State is within that terrain, though he cannot be prosecuted. But the House of Assembly in Kogi State has the enormous power to determine what we call misconduct that would have emanated for impeachment for a governor of a state to be in such a controversial position.
We don't have those types of state houses of assembly in Nigeria.
We do. We
don't have the kind of state house of assembly that would hold their governors to that level of accountability in Nigeria. Okay. That's the expectation. That's the expectation. Okay. That's what they are meant to do. But we all know that that's not reality. Another thing that we seem to forget is governors don't walk into state bank accounts and load Ghana must go of money and move away. There are people who approve contracts. There are people who approve payments. There are people who turn the other way when governors allegedly mismanage these funds. There's a lot of people in this whole circle of allegedly mismanaging 100 billion naira. And so why don't we ever hear their names? Why do we have systems that ignore the other people who should as well be guilty?
Well, the law is that the prosecuting agencies are at the discretion to determine who to prosecute. Do you understand? The governor in question is how will I put it now? I think, let me give a statement to, I was privileged to be in an occasion, I think a closed-door occasion where the former governor of Imo State, which is Oricha, the former governor of Imo State, when he said that a governor can do and undo. A good example of what you are giving now, a contract was approved in Kano. A video clip of the governor was seen collecting a kickback in pounds or in dollars. Do you understand? So in such circumstances, what will you say? So, but if you look at it, they'll look at it from the perspective of, who is the head we can get hold of that can shake. Even in developed countries, they look at, okay, let's cut down the tree rather than the branch. So the governor seems to be the tree. And we are finding a situation by, in Nigeria, a former president can also stand trial in all these circumstances. This will put a stop to all these excesses. So the governors, they possess enough power, a lot of power. And it's at the discretion of EFCC on who to charge and who not to charge.
We have to go now. I mean, you said it's the discretion of the EFCC on who to charge. You made mention of a press release. I'm not quite sure because I've checked their website and their X handle as to the press release. I'm not quite certain. I think the most we've seen is a media aid giving a press release to a media house stating that Yahaya Bello was not arrested and that he's a law-abiding citizen of the country and therefore drove himself to law enforcement agency. But in the next few hours, we'll find out what exactly will happen if he'll be charged to court, and we'll take it up from there. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning.
You are welcome.